Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this Preparing for Network Services 4 webinar with me. I'm Chris Farthing, CEO and founder of Advice Cloud. Delighted to welcome you today. As a lot to get through, so I'm going to be cracking on through. I'm glad to be joined by Christina, from our content lead from our marketing team, who's going to facilitate the webinar today, as well as helping with questions and things like that. So what we're going to do is really going to have a real run through from quite a ground up perspective on what's happening around Network Services 4. What we know so far, there's been a few changes this week. So, and it's coming quite close to the time when it's going to be coming out. So, it's only a few months away, so preparation is the key. So the better prepared you are, the easier you'll find the application, is our experience. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss future content. We've got loads more advice and practical sessions on selling to the public sector, just like this one. And while you're at it, follow us on LinkedIn for some regular updates, tips and guidance on public sector sales and procurement. So the agenda really here is to talk through what actually is Network Services for the beginners amongst you, what the expected lock structure is so far. There's some information about what market's saying around it. Is Network Services 4 right for you? Some key dates and timelines, what you need to do now, and we'll give you a bit of track record on our. This is our. Yeah, we've actually been working on this since the very first one. We had 3 when I first started the company 11 years ago. 12 years ago in August. We started on Network Services 1 and took 3 companies through for that as well. So yeah, I'm definitely feeling my age now. And finally, we'll talk about how we can help in a bit of Q&A. So briefly, who are we for the newcomers in the room? We are public sector procurement specialists. I'm an ex-gov buyer, and we've built a company all about trying to share that procurement knowledge about how public sector buys its stuff, so that suppliers, especially SMEs, but we do work with all kinds of suppliers, from household names right through to startups and scale-ups, mostly around frameworks and bidding expertise, but really trying to share that, what it's like from a buyer's perspective, and help you sell better. Okay, we are certified as a great place to work for the past 2 years running as well, and doing our bit for the planet by being certified carbon neutral. You can see there's some of the stats that 73% of our clients are SMEs, and there's a lot of money has been won as a direct result of our work. This isn't just oh, we got you on a framework, take that £20 billion and add that to the team. This is work that we have done to help these guys win the business, and nearly 600 clients. Which I'm delighted to see. It's a lovely stat over the years. So what you're going to walk away with today, okay? So today's session will help you understand what Network Services is and how it differs from Network Services 3, what lots are expected, and whether a Network Services 4 is right for your business. We're going to try and help you understand the market contacts that GCA have heard during the market engagements they've had. There's quite a lot of information that you can read, and some between the lines stuff as well. Talk about the application process, what it's likely to involve, and then you'll leave with some clear next steps to prepare now before the ITC drops in August. There will be a further webinar on this towards July, the end of July, I believe, as we get into the final preparation stuff, and hopefully CCS is also GCA. As far as I know, are planning some more market engagement stuff to walk through a little bit more in detail about where they're at and what the terms, conditions and application process is. And they've been pretty good with that so far. So, fair play to Patrick and Kevin from GCA and team and Elliot, and that they've done some pretty good engagement so far. So, hats off to them for that. So a very quick poll. We use these to actually test the temperature of the room. So can you let us know where you're at with Network Services 4? So I've been on Network Services 3 and planning for NS4, new to Network Services frameworks, exploring whether it's right for us, really well prepared, and just want to fill in the gaps.
A few moments later.
So it's a good mix, actually. So nearly 40% are already on it and looking to apply for it. So there's 10% of you, 20% of you are new to it. And then another 40% of you exploring whether it's right for you or not. And then, a couple of the old lags there, well prepared, just want to fill in the gaps. Well done for you guys. So what is Network Services 4? It's the next generation of government commercial agencies network services frameworks. So it is all about public sector networks and connectivity, as well as voice, contact center, and it's even got audio visual in there as well. So its expected value is, over the 8 years, it's going to be an open framework, all right, which means there's going to be multiple reopening points under the new PA 2023 rules. Well, new, it's been a year or so now running, but for those of you new, it's the room, so they'll give you a reopening chance. If you miss your application and decide it's not right for you or you won't qualify, in about 18 months time after it's opening, they'll reopen it so you can reapply. So hopefully you'll have a chance to build towards that as well. So there's a £7 billion expected ceiling value, excluding VAT. Network Services 3 is running for 4 years, and Network Services 4 will run for 8. All right, with I don't think there's a cap on the contract length, but usually anything between 5 to 7 years is usually around the right length of time for most, certainly for most large-scale WANs and things like that. So the terms are going to be from February 2027 till February 2035, and you know, as I say, it's going to be under the new rules and regs. So let's see what the framework numbers are. So for network, it's always good to see the numbers here, and thank you very much, Tussle, for this information. As you can see, 806 million in awards in call-off value to date, and there's still 14 months to run. Over 560 call-offs awarded to date, okay, from 263 unique buying organisations. Now, a lot of these still don't get published, although under the law, under PA 2023, these will have to publish all contract awards, even through frameworks. Okay, so and there's been significant growth from the first Network Services 1 to Network Services 2. So there is definitely money here. It's not like some of the smaller frameworks out there that put a high ceiling value and don't really put some throughput. The good things about Network Services and GCA, and we've used it multiple times buying, not just in central government, but really right down to you know, the edge of the public sector and to social housing and charities and things like that, all use it to quickly procure their network requirements. So who's buying? All right, so 260 buying organisations so far. As you'll expect, central government's very well represented here with MOJ, DEFRA, GCA, Glasgow City Council. I believe we helped win that contract, if I remember rightly, for the supplier there. Or certainly in the original time. So there you can see the NHS have been using it, TVP, Home Office. There's all sorts of different requirements. So you know, it's not just central government, but central government is going to be the vast majority of the buyers through this. Now, this is really important. As you can see, it's a bit tricky. So this is what the current lotting look like, and this is what successor I must admit, I will get used to it. It'll take me a couple of years. What the current Network Services 3 lotting looks like. They did it in terms of types of technology stacks with sub-lots underneath. Now we're going through straight lotting in there. So as you can see, we've mapped it across as far as it will go. So you've got lot 1 for WAN, lot 2 for LAN, lot 3 is voice in UC. So we'll talk some of the options in here. Lot 4 is contact center, lot 5 IoT and connected places, critical domain services, paging and alerting. Lot 8, which is new, is audio visual services, and lot 9 now is critical communications devices, services and software, mostly based around the ESN requirements. All right, so it's going to be very much a home office based type thing, but it's required in here to get that, to capture those requirements as hopefully the new ESN network comes in. I'm not going to talk through all of this, okay? This is hopefully a very, very helpful scope summary for anyone who's thinking about whether they're going to apply for it or not. This is frankly courtesy of GCA. They put this draft spec in May 2026. It is subject to change. Okay, it has recently changed with the addition of lots 9 and the moving around of some of the lot numbers and things like that. So this is the current state of it, but it's really, I think this is a very, very helpful slide if you're wanting to understand whether your services are suitable for this framework. It's one that will hopefully help you make that decision. If not, you can always get in touch and we'll help you with that anyway. So another poll. Do you know which lot you're going to apply for? What ones you're going to keep? It's always keen to see. So we've got lots 1 or 2, WAN LAN, voice and UC.
A few moments later.
There you go. The vast majority would suggest that you're lots 1 and 2, closely followed by the IoT and connected places one. Okay, next to voice and UC. Interesting. And there's some AV and some critical communication suppliers there as well. So thank you very much for that. It's quite an interesting mix, actually. I was not quite expecting that, but there we go. So let's crack on a little bit more. So what is the market saying? What are the key themes from GCA's supplier and buyer engagement so far from December up until February 2026? Okay. Investment hesitation is quite real. Yeah, public sector network spend is growing, but slowly and quite unevenly. So a lot more organisations are sweating their assets and not replacing them, Although I have to say March Madness, for those who don't know, there's a budget dump time, was very, very much infrastructure related. I know a very, very large network provider, a network infrastructure provider, beginning with the name of C, had an absolutely record March, either directly or through their resellers. So we know there's an awful lot of infrastructure bought in February and March this year. All right. So, but in terms of services and delivery, it's still quite tight and there's not a lot being spent at the moment. So budget pressure, in-flight policy and a wait and see approach. And when investment does happen, it is targeted rather than just a broad refresh. All right. Security has definitely become a non-negotiable. Okay, with all the things that are going on at the moment, zero trust and security design are no longer optional, they're in the specification. Okay, so enhanced network security is a must-have, not a nice-to-have. It's built into draft spec for lots one and two, and there's definitely a meaningful shift now from MS3 where security was more an add-on than a core. I think, yeah, we'll also find that AI is probably in there somewhere as well. All right, new technologies coming in, mixing that, but LEO satellites, so well, SD-WAN's not really new, but you know, it's been around, it's definitely, let's just say, much more embedded and used now, getting over the old MPLS networks. So, yeah, we've got this stuff specifically included in lot one now, but the spec is designed to flex with the market. So if you think it's a roadmap rather than not just the current services, so it gives an opportunity over the next years to take advantage of new technologies and how things are progressing. Because, you know, who would have thought that 2 years ago or 4 years ago when Network Services 3 was launched, where would be with the AI situation at the moment. Simplification has been requested. So GSA has listened to the marketplace. You know, WAN and LAN are staying separate. Voice and UC is getting consolidated. Initially, we were going to have WAN and LAN pushed into just a single lot. But that they've listened to the market and said, actually, no, we need to keep those separate. CPaaS and inbound telephony is now absorbed into the voice UC lot, making it and contact center stays with its own dedicated lot. Quite rightly so, because it's very different from the voice stuff. Legacy tech is needing separating out, so 2 of the NS3 lots have gone. Analog telephony is removed with the PSTN switch off, is making it quite redundant. I mean, I'll be interested to see feedback on that one next year. Tactical radio has been removed. That now's got its own framework launched at the beginning of this year. So that was tactical comms. About the battlefield comms communication stuff. So, but you aren't listed under any of these. You're going to see how your services can map to lot 3 or lot 6, or maybe you have to go for a separate network entirely. Hopefully you didn't miss tactical comms. IoT's naming apparently was holding it back. So they've rebranded it now to IoT and connected places. There's an awful lot in the scope there to put in there. So I'd be really interested to see how this one plays out, okay? Because you've got smart buildings, digital twins, there's waste and water management, stuff about footfall in buildings, predictive maintenance, CCTV. So this is really heading down out of a lot of the central government big building stuff that got the government procurement agency are looking at rationalising and doing, certainly out into the wider public sector here, with certainly into, you know, people that have healthcare and in local government. Be particularly interested in a lot of the work that's going to be going into this. So, you know, I definitely, if this is something you've dismissed before, it's very much worth having a look at again. So, as it said, critical comms has got its own home now. So the Home ESM program has driven significant expansion in Enforced critical communication scope. So we've now got the addition, it's our either end of last week, earlier this. We've got lots 9, A and B covering devices, services and software. Okay, so again, we're seeking, the CCO is seeking feedback on this structure. So if you operate in this space, it's a really good opportunity to engage with GCA and the team, so Kevin Alexander and Elliot, to give them feedback as to where you feel this is, whether you feel this is right or not. So on to the bit about, is network services for right for you? So understanding the eligibility picture before the ITC drop. So it will suit suppliers who can deliver connectivity, security, voice, AV, IoT, or some of the related services. You'll need to demonstrate your technical capability across lots, so that will be via 2 routes. So there'll be what's called the qualification bit, which will be via technical accreditation certificates. So you get your customers to say you've actually delivered these services. You'll need some certifications as well around financial standing and ISOs. And there's some stuff there around you wanting a long-term revenue for your framework and provide the right stuff. As you can see in the expected requirements, so you've got tax, technical ability certificates. For those who don't know, they are basically a customer reference to say that you have delivered these services usually within the last 3 years, and to a certain value. It doesn't have to be the public sector, it can be any organization, but they will need to have actually agreed to say yes, you have done this. There'll be a financial reliability risk assessment, looking like a lot of these will be set at the gold level. I'm hoping that's changed, but at the moment some of them are being set as gold level, so you need to make sure that you've got your FVRA right. There'll be quality questions that'll be general and a lot specific around how you deliver services, security, implementation, all depending on the types of stuff you're doing. There's quite some detailed stuff last time around, sorry. Some very, very detailed stuff actually around implementation plans, exit plans, things like that. Business continuity is very, very key in this world. There'll be social value assessment, cyber essentials, relevant ISOs, and of course, if you're of a certain size, a carbon reduction plan, which is always good to have anyway. It's good housekeeping. So here you go. Here's the correct checklist readiness there. So you've got CE or CE plus 27001. Bear in mind that 27001 is not seen now as an alternative to Cyber Essentials Plus. They are complementary. So you will definitely absolutely have to have CE, quite possibly some of them CE plus, but also more than likely 27001, 9001, 14001. Quite possibly 20,001 for IT service management was included in a number of different frameworks in the past. This is done very much worthwhile looking at, and just CRP as well, as we're aware of as well. All right, so you need your insurances. Make sure you've got your evidence from your customers as well. Social value policies, examples and documents. There will be a question on social value about how you're going to deliver it, or it might actually be a tick box exercise. We're not sure on that yet. Make sure you've got your internal resource identified to lead your application and you're giving them the space to do so. The tender is due out in August, so it's school holidays time. So, we are where we are on that. There's a number of frameworks coming out around there. I think, we've got a choice: it's school holidays or Christmas. Take your choice. Okay. So, and again, make sure you're aware of what services what lots your services map to as well. So, if you don't have that many ticks, or not all of them, that's what this session's for. It's to give you that opportunity to either go out and get them or work out whether it's worthwhile you're going to get them. And if you need partners now to help you with some of these, we can definitely help you with those. All right, we've got a very big partner network that can help out getting these certificates or making sure that you get your cyber essentials or even your carbon reduction plan, things like that in place as well. Okay, rocking through this. Another poll, Chrissy, if you're ready, how ready do you feel you are right now?
A few moments later.
So that's really good news. Like 79% of you are actually a long way forward in terms of where you need to get to and your readiness. Okay, so but still there's 20% that do need to go. So if you need to get in touch, please do. We're here to help. That's what we like to do. And we try to be as ready to help you be as ready as possible for when the ITT lands. So here's the key dates and timeline. At the moment, we are in the pre-market engagement space. So GCO anticipating put the FBC sign off hopefully around now at some point, which means once that's done, it can actually start really getting the preparation done for ITT, getting into sourcing with the procurement documentation, start identifying coming back to us in the marketplace to say, this is what we're landing on. These are going to be the requirements, and this is how we're going to go forward with it. Okay. Currently at the moment, it's the 19th of August publication date for the ITT with applications closed. Anything I'd say between 6 to 8 weeks. 6 weeks is kind of like the minimum acceptable. Although I've seen every single version of network services so far being extended by at least a month. All right, because there's some things that come up in the T's and C's or whatever. So if you're looking to join on this, you're probably looking either the end of September towards the end of October. My money's on towards the end of October, and hopefully not pushing into the Christmas period if those dates do shift. I think they're giving themselves a little bit of leeway here to try to get there. Bear in mind also that September is a time when a huge amount of tendering starts to come in again. It's one of those, the way that the public sector cycle works is, around May time when the budgets have landed and the money's been allocated and projects go, then a bit of quiet time over summer, and then into September when you start to see more projects arrive. quiet over Christmas, and then you've got March, heading towards March Madness for the last 3 or 4 months of the public sector spend cycle. So the award will be in February 2027, which will then the framework will begin, and it will close 8 years later. And by the time then, there's usually a month overlap for Network Services 3 on to 4 to allow procurements to close, running through that. So yeah, that's when you can expect your ability to use Network Services 3 to end. Looking at how long each stage takes, all right? So these estimates are based on our experience across comparable frameworks. Timings will vary based on your capacity, resource, and knowledge, but it gives you an idea about certain certifications. It's about 3 to 6 months, but some of those can be 9 months. CRPs in place. Now you can get people that will send you a generic one, all right, which will tick the right box, but that's kind of, I think that's cheating. Yeah, you need to actually have, and if it's evaluated and challenged by GCA or one of your clients, your prospects, you may come unstuck. And we've seen it happen. Okay, definitely need to check your FVRA, getting your technical certificate quiz, evidence gathering, your quality question writing and review, your social value response preparation, and then clearly internal sign off and final submission checks. There's a lot of work to get done around that tender time. Okay, so in terms of your prep, can you let us know what your biggest challenges are? It'd be really helpful to us to talk about some of the potential services we can offer, or maybe when we do our webinar in July, we can talk some ideas that we have for people there. So we've got the options are getting certifications in place, capacity, understanding what's actually required, or writing compelling quality answers.
A few moments later.
That's quite an interesting spread. So getting certifications in place is quarter review, capacity. Yeah, it's always a problem, especially around school holidays. Tell me about it. I do like to have child holidays for my children as well, without having to be constantly on my laptop. So understanding what's actually required, well, that should hopefully pan out over the next few months. Once TCS have got their FBC approved, which I said, the financial business case, they'll start doing market engagement again, and we'll start seeing GCA come back out and talking about what they're going to need from the suppliers. They've been pretty open about a lot of stuff so far, so fair play to them. And then writing compelling quality answers as well. Well, that's always a challenge, and I certainly wouldn't be relying on AI to generate these, or anyone who said we'll take care of that, without actually speaking to you about stuff as well, because you're likely to have very, very similar answers. We've had a lot of people that have been pushed back on other frameworks because they've had similar answers submitted by other people. So some actions to take now. Again, understand your lots, get your certifications in order, sort your CRP, make sure you've got your internals, legal stakeholders out, legal especially. From your technical people, you're going to need some senior sign-off that you want to go for it. Build your evidence bank, identify any blockers you're going to have, especially around the financial standing and access to T's and C's. If you're a non-UK organisation looking to break into this, the T's and C's can be quite an eye-opener. Just remember that it's a crown, and they take it very, very seriously, the fact that suppliers want to try to renegotiate their framework terms. All right, usually they don't. So, you have to then take a real decision as to whether you're willing to accept the liabilities and the things they want you to put in there. To make a success of it, if you're new to this, make sure you try and get in front of buyers still right now. Don't wait until the framework lands. These contracts take a long time to come back to. So, if I was making a decision on changing supplier on a network, I'd be starting that work 18 months in advance. Maybe 2 years on some of the bigger contracts. So, don't wait until the framework's launched before you start doing your business development, okay? And again, plan your application timeline. In our experience of people who don't work with us, you're looking at around 15 to 20 working days over your team per lot. So it can be an awful lot. A lot of it is done with reading the specification and the T's and C's and things like that, but then making sure you get your answer scaffold right as well it can be quite onerous, and going through that and can hoover up a lot of resource. So in terms of our track record, okay, so let's talk about our network services frameworks by the numbers. Here we go. So for 2, we took 14 clients through, of which 100% were SMEs. We had 38 successful listings, and out of those, 32 of those got 100% on the quality score, and got a lovely little quote there. And in Network Services 3, so as we're a growing company, people of the large organisations start to take a bit more notice of us. 24 of our clients, are only 70% of them, which is in line with our policy, being SMEs. 52 successful listings, so growing that, but all of our listings were 100% quality. That's what our job is, to make sure you get. There's nothing that GCA can look at in your quality and download from that and downgrade you. Okay, can't really help you with your commercials. We can give you some advice on if you think you're going too high, but ultimately you should know your pricing. But that's where our key value comes in. Our job is to really get you the best quality, so you can't be knocked out on quality or any of the background stuff as well. All right. So as of February 2026, 15 of our 24 network services clients have won business through the framework. I think that's a bit higher, but a lot of authorities aren't publishing their award notices. We've seen 48 contracts reported with a combined total of about 70 million. And again, I think that's a lot higher, to be honest. So it's a lovely, quite scary ROI from our framework application managed service. But it's just how it works. And there's still 16 months left of the framework's term, and there's some big numbers still to be reported back from March yet. Okay, so why do you want to get help? All right, so the frameworks do have complex requirements. We try to make it easy to understand. If you think about the stuff we're sharing here for free, the stuff that we know that you're going to have to pay for is immense. All right, and our experience and knowledge and our ability to get you through to those deadlines during what can be quite pressing timelines for you is not to be sniffed at. All right, we've seen people who make one or two mistakes and they're off, and that's it. They're locked out until the next round, at least under an open framework. But still, there's some pretty horrible stuff that have to happen. You have to go through third parties, things like that. So, and competitive applications are resource heavy. We can take about 70% of the application time away from you by getting you focused on what you need to do to get onto the framework and identify things there. So, not only is there certainty, because we guarantee to get you on or get your money back, okay, if we're at fault, obviously, if you're at fault, not our fault. But there's the certainty of working with us, but also the fact that we're going to reduce a huge amount of resource time, especially in SME, from your team. So in terms of how we can help, we've got all sorts of services here. Mainly it's framework applications, bidding services. We do a lot of training workshops, do a lot of people that are looking to enter into new markets in the public sector as to whether we would buy your stuff. Yeah, and we have Procurement Plus as our phone a friend service for anything procurement related. So you don't have to be the procurement experts, you rely on us. Right, here's our framework success. There's a bit more detail on that. There's a lot of stuff we've done over the past 11 years. We wholly focus on tech and digital within Gov. We don't do facilities, we don't do catering, we don't do construction, we don't do anything other than tech and digital. That's where our knowledge is, and that's why we have some of the former leading chief officers in government actually working with us as well. All right, so check our advisors page if you're not too sure about that one. Our experience here, thank you, VIST, Mobilise Cloud, All Human and Comms World, talking about all the things we've done for them. Really grateful for this. Thank you so much for your support over the years. It's been amazing. And another one here from Alan, the MD of Lucid Support Services, in terms of our framework and review and tender bid guidance. We've got our How to Get Listed webinar. This is going to be in July, so you're more than welcome to register your interest here for that. You can book a quick chat with how we can support you here. So use that QA, you'll get through to me or to one of my team and book some time in there. The sooner you book it, the quicker it is for that. And now we'll go for Q&A. Chrissy.
Hello. Just want to say thank you everyone for your engagement across all the polls today. I know we had quite a few today, so thank you so much for that. That's very helpful for us. So as we get into Q&A, I've just had quite a few questions asking about sharing the slides and the resources, which will all be sent out this afternoon. First question though is, saying that there are TOCs tax is useful, but until we know the number, value and dates, etc., we have no idea if we are compliant or not.
Very true, but I think if you can aim for the higher, the better. And always try to get out as many as possibly can. I've never seen any more than 3 per lot, all right, in any of the GCA, CCS webinars, ITTs, frameworks over the time I've been doing this, and it's quite some time. quite often there will be only one. So I would aim for having between 3 to 5, because people drop out, people move, change jobs and things like that. And as high as possible. What's the biggest amount you can get? Have those ready. They're not going to be looking, it's very doubtful they'll be looking for multi-million-pound ones. All right. That really doesn't happen. So I think it's whatever's going to be a reasonable amount that you can do for your size. All right. But yeah, it's true. You'll need to, I mean, there's a reasonable guess you can make here. All right. And, I mean, I think for tech services, they were quite light, except for some of the bigger multiple lots. But yeah, so anyway, let's carry on.
We have someone else who says, how much harder is it for suppliers that weren't listed on NS3 to win a place on NS4?
I think everyone has a fair go at this, okay? Everyone has the same, it comes from the same position, all right? Now, if you've already been on there, you know the form, and because you will already have had your ISOs and things like that in place, so you've got a little bit ahead of it, okay? Part of us doing this is giving you that heads up to say, this is the things you're going to need, all right? So the real focus for you, if you're new to this, should be in getting the compliance stuff in place and being ready to do the quality questions, and that they can be quite hard. All right. So, obviously support's here if you need it, but you can welcome to do it yourselves. But if you want guaranteed listings, you know where to come.
Thank you. What are the requirements relating to FVRA? We are assuming it's bronze. Is this correct?
Well, in this deck here, it's mentioned gold. So, we will need to find that out. I think that's a question for GCA. I'm not sure that bronze is going to cut it for the level of types of call-offs that are going to be available here. So I think you might be finding that different across different lots, but certainly I would have thought some of the ESN stuff you're looking at gold, quite possibly even, GCA have moved quite significantly towards gold over the time they've been doing this. So I wouldn't rely on having bronze if I was you. I would certainly be at least silver, just to give yourself an opportunity there.
Great. We have a few questions here that ask about the number of suppliers, whether it's capped, not capped, how many will be accepted into the framework.
As far as I know, it's not going to be capped. Okay, the trend from Crown Commercial GCA at the moment is not to cap frameworks, but then what they do is they will put in the quite high level, quite intense requirements around ISOs, around the FVRAs, CRPs, and then some quite intensive quality questions that you'll need to answer that can put organisations off that are maybe just looking to get on the framework but not really use it. Okay, so I would expect it to be quite a busy, quite detailed and intense amount of work to get on there. All right, so it's not going to be just a tick box exercise, put it that way, to get on. You're going to have to do some work to get on there, which makes it it means it's meaningful. There'll be a certain number of suppliers per lots 1 and 2 are traditionally the most popular. As well as then for the voice and the UC stuff, and then as it flows down the stack, a little less so. So, for example, for the AV lot, you might find that's a little bit less. But we'll anticipate hearing from GCA soon as to how they're going to do that. But they've got to get their FBC organised first.
Kind of along the same topic, we have a few questions here asking about which ISOs will be mandatory and other requirements. So someone's asked about ISO 14001. Do we have any information on which ones will be mandatory?
As far as I recall from Network Services 3, it was 9000, 27001 and 14001. Those were the absolute mandatories that you require to have there. Plus, you need to have a very, very detailed business continuity plan in place. All right. There's a likelihood now, having seen the way that some of the other frameworks have landed recently, that the IT service management element of it, the 20,000 and whatever it is a distinct possibility that it's going to be included in that as well, because there's a real big services element of this, in similar to tech services, where there's a large rollouts needed as well. All right, it's not just a tin drop or something like that. All right, but those three, as far as I remember from MS3, they were there. So you're going to need those.
Yeah.
If
Are
you don't need
they?
it for the framework application, sorry, Chrissy. If you don't
No,
need
it's
it
all
for the
right.
framework application, you're going to absolutely 100% need them for the call off. I don't think I've seen a call off go through without a requirement relating to that to make sure you've got that in place. All right.
Yeah. Are the requirements finalised per lot? Yeah.
Not yet, no. We're
No.
expecting more market engagement to come from Crown Commercial. GCA.
Okay.
So they have only just published the new lot structure, so we're expecting to get some feedback around that. And then, as I say, once FBC goes through, they'll come back to market and talk to us about what their plans are from now.
Okay. Someone's just said that 14,001 wasn't a mandatory requirement for NS3.
Really? Okay, we'll check that out then. But it's certainly been one in a lot of other ones that you've been in.
Yeah, we'll double check that today and
Oh, sorry
get
about
that.
that. My age and my brain there.
No, it's fine. Where can we locate the requirements for FVRA levels?
They are quite readily available around the Cabinet Office and GCA website. You can see on there that you can Google FVRA Gold suppliers. I'll give you this sort of thing, but each one is more attuned to each framework that's out. So there'll be much more when the framework actually comes out is when you'll start seeing about it. But then CCS again will give you more. GCA will give you more information on that when they do more market engagement.
Okay, I think last few questions now. How suitable do you think NS4 is for well-established overseas organisations, given the fact that the nature of NS4 involves significant manual labour for on-site surveys, deployment support?
I think you've answered your own question there. If you haven't got people on the ground, you're not going to be able to do it unless you find partners to do it for you. Yep, for that side of things. So, so that would be for lots 1 and 2. However, if you're a voice and UC supplier or contact center supplier and it's a SaaS-based thing, then it might just be helpful to go through NS3 for that. It all depends on types of what you're supplying, really. But yeah, if what you do requires significant engineering work to actually implement and you don't have the engineering work on the ground, you're either going to look for partners to do that for you or not apply or build it out yourself.
Okay, last question is regarding contact center tenders. Do we see these typically being vendor agnostic outcome based, e.g. transformation, AI enabled or platform pre-selected, looking for implementation partner / SI, or a mix?
It's a mix. Very much a mix on that. And also there is another contact center framework which includes bums on seats and tech as well. So quite often it will be where there's an outsource requirement, but more often than not, someone will have an established contact center in place and either want to challenge that, want to migrate from it, but you'll be getting a huge amount of market engagement well before then, or you should be getting in touch with people as their contract well before their contracts come to an end on that sort of stuff, because it's a very, very big investment decision.
Great, thank you. That's everything.
Well, thank you very much, Chrissy. Thanks for all your help. So if you want to book a call, please do so there. The quicker you get there. We've got about, I think, in terms of our capacity, we're well over 50% of the way through. So I'm expecting by the end of June, most of the capacity will be gone for us if you want your listings, if you want some help and want the guaranteed results. Other than that, thank you so much. As we said, the recording slides here, the resources, make sure we'll be sent out in the next 24 hours. If you can keep in touch with us, we have a whole bank of accessible resources in our Knowledge Hub, which you can find on our website. Also, make sure you follow us on LinkedIn if you're not already doing so, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for viewers on YouTube, if you're watching this recording on YouTube, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more public sector procurement tips and advice. And follow us on LinkedIn to stay updated with all the latest from public sector and us at Advice Club. And with that, I thank you very much. And thank you so much for your engagement today. It's very, very grateful. Thanks a lot.